Hello. What can you expect when you go to counselling with me or another therapist? Well, the first thing I think you need to understand, in my opinion, is that going to see a counsellor is nothing like going to your GP for a pill to fix you. You'd be surprised how many clients come hoping that I can take away their emotional pain in a single session. A counsellor or psychotherapist is a support person who helps you heal yourself, especially with trauma recovery, which can take years, by the way. The counsellor you choose is a person with whom you can resonate and come to trust. The therapeutic relationship can take a few sessions to build. After all, both you and your counsellor are just getting to know each other like any relationship. A season of counselling is a bit like a personal experiment that we conduct on ourselves. The therapist can guide us with all sorts of tools from their professional kit bag, but we choose the tools to keep and the tools to throw away. It's such an obvious thing to say, but every person is going to forge their own path to recovery. The speed, the tone, and the trajectory of that pathway is led by you, the client, and with the counsellor there as your backup person. Your counsellor or therapist has years of research and experience in ways of helping another person cope with distress, or get back behind the steering wheel of their lives, or get to know themselves better, be kinder to themselves, or integrate the parts of themselves that have been torn apart by interpersonal trauma. No therapist has all the answers, and sooner or later they're going to say something that you don't like or you don't agree with. Then it's up to you to decide if you'll continue your search for the perfect therapist or stay the distance with the one you have. Of course, there are drugs that can be prescribed by a psychiatrist or your GP to relieve anxiety or depression, help you sleep, or help you regulate your moods better. And if it's this kind of intervention you want, please discuss this with your doctor. Counsellors and psychotherapists aren't included in the Medicare rebate scheme. Not all counsellors have recognised tertiary level training. To know if your counsellor has proper training, it's probably best to find one who is registered with one of the national peak bodies, the Australian Counselling Association, the ACA, or PACFA. Since the 1950s, when a psychologist by the name of Carl Rogers revolutionized the way psychotherapy is conducted, most psychotherapy has been client-centered. This means that a counsellor aims to follow you rather than lead you, to oversimplify it. In the very first session, a counsellor will ask you about what your issue is and what you hope to get out of a season or session of counselling. They'll also explain that counselling is confidential, like it is with doctors, lawyers, and accountants. Sometimes the experiments a counsellor will ask you to do can seem overly simple. Breathing techniques, for example. You might think, how can this breathing technique possibly help me? I need a more drastic solution. But when you think about it, our breathing is the foundation on which our human life is founded. And modern science has now made a clear link between the in-breath with the sympathetic nervous system and the out-breath with the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your fight, flight, freeze, fawn system, or your defense response. Polyvagal theory now shows us that humans resonate with each other at the level of the nervous system. You know how being around some people sets your nerves on edge, and other people can make you feel calm and comfortable and drop all your defenses? Psychoeducation, such as I just gave you, talking about our human defense system, is also something you can expect from counselling. If you ever wonder why a counsellor suggests you try something, you can ask them and they'll be able to tell you about the science or the evidence base behind it. Another important thing to be ready for in counselling is this. Sometimes you feel worse before you feel better. Expecting to go away from every session with a counsellor feeling better than before the session is a bit unrealistic. Fronting up to how things really are is not always painless. I like to use a metaphor borrowed from firefighting. Backdraft. If a door is opened onto a fire, the fire is flooded with oxygen and flares up before firefighters are able to put it out. Opening the heart in counselling can have the same effect. It's a brave step to even come to counselling in the first place, and I commend you for even considering it, especially in families or communities where there's stigma around it. And if all you want is some positive psychology or coaching to help you with a decision or to get your ducks in a row, then bravo to you too. Ultimately, it's you who decides to do the work or not do the work. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I hope this little video answers a few questions you have about counselling or about me as your counsellor. Good luck with your search for the right counsellor, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.